Next, from the state capitol, members of SEIU, legislators, and healthcare advocates hold a rally in support of maintaining the current state income tax rate. This runs about 35 minutes.
Good afternoon. Now that's more like it. You all do my mama proud. We are here today to send out an SOS. Y'all ready? Y'all ready to save our schools? SOS. Y'all ready to save our services? SOS. Y'all willing to save our state? SOS. Well, because we activists are often inundated and underappreciated and undercompensated and seldom celebrated, why don't y'all celebrate yourselves right now with a great big round of applause? Let them hear you all the way on the third floor. My name is William McNary, and I'm the co-director of Citizen Action Illinois. And at Citizen Action Illinois, we say there are three kinds of people. There are people that make things happen, there are people that watch things happen, and then there are people that don't know what's happening. I can't think of any place else in the world I would rather be on a Thursday afternoon than right here in a crowd full of aggressive, progressive people who are not just content to spectate or to speculate about life, but people who are active participants in the movement for social justice and social change. I truly believe because you all are gathered here this afternoon, our children will learn better, our people will live longer, and everybody in our state will have a higher quality of life because of the work that y'all done, are doing, but most importantly, what you all are getting ready to do. We're here to tell the legislators, to show some guts and stop the cuss. Show some guts, stop the cuss.
Good afternoon, family. I said good afternoon, family. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is April Verrett, and I am so proud to serve as the Executive Vice President of SEIU Healthcare. On behalf of the 92,000 badass members of our union, who proudly serve our communities, we support working families, right? And home care, and nursing home, and hospital workers, and child care providers. Thank you for inviting me to speak today. Let me start by being real crystal clear. Budget documents are moral documents. They are not about the pie charts, the spreadsheets, or any of those fancy figures that the folks upstairs want to tell us they're about. They are about children and men and women who live in this state, right? Some of whom who go to work every day if they're fortunate enough to have a job, but they're really about those who need services that these budget documents provide. Our state budget reveals something about our priorities. They talk about what our values are and the communities we all make together as one. Budgets express what we cherish, where we invest our resources, and ultimately what we are all about. We are all gathered here today in this chamber because Illinois is facing a severe budget crisis. People's lives are hanging in the balance. And that's why our legislators need to pass a responsible budget. A budget that shows what our morals are. A budget that shows what their morals are. system simply because they don't have their priorities straight. It's a choice whether or not we fully fund services for seniors and folks with disabilities and child care assistance for single moms or Medicaid for those who can't afford their health care, or whether we slash these programs simply because state lawmakers won't exercise courage, leadership, or commitment to the people that sent them here. That's why we absolutely must maintain our state's current 5% income tax to protect working families. And we must make sure we are honoring the commitments we make to one another. The people of this great state deserve nothing less than a responsible budget that lives up to our highest values. Thank you.
Thank you. Y'all ready to save our state? Y'all ready to save our services? Y'all ready to save our schools? Well, ladies and gentlemen, without any further hesitation, let me introduce to you the Vice President of the Illinois Education Association, Ms. Kathy Griffin.
To be here with my union brothers and sisters. I am proud to be the Vice President of the Illinois Education Association. We have more than 130,000 members in every part of Illinois. We are a diverse organization, but we have a single message today. Illinois needs revenue, so we must maintain the current income tax. It is important that we make the legislators understand that they need to do their job. It is their job to come up with the revenue that our state needs to fund our schools, provide services to children, to the sick and the elderly, the services Illinoisans benefit from every day. The way some people are talking, it makes it seem as if this is a new situation. It is not. The needs of our schools and our citizens who rely on our state are not new. Here's the new part: $5.5 billion less to address them. That's new, and it would be tragic. We have just as many people who need health care, just as many people who rely on human services, just as many people needing the protection offered by public safety services, and that cannot be done with $5.5 billion less in revenue. I am a veteran, 30-year elementary school teacher, and I lie awake at night wondering what kind of education will we have in this state if thousands of teachers and support staff are laid off? What will children be able to learn in the classrooms when there are twice as many students being taught by a single teacher? We, the educators, the service providers, owe the people of Illinois our best efforts. But to do that, to provide service, there has to be revenue. We are a diverse group here today, but we also have a single message for the members of the legislature. Do your job. Illinois needs revenue. We must maintain the income tax.
We are proud to have the Secretary from the Department of Human Services for the state of Illinois, Ms. Michelle Sadler.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. My name is Michelle, and I am here to ask you to do everything in your power to stop the cuts to human services. Human services as a whole has been cut disproportionately over the past 5 years. I'm the secretary of the Department of Human Services, and we are one of the state's largest agencies, but there are other human service agencies. We have the Department on Aging. We have Department of Children and Family Services. And we have the Department of Public Health. Now, DHS, that's the Department of Human Services, we are large, but we are only large with you because 3/4 of our entire budget is invested in the community through our community-based providers, like many of you represent here today. I come from you, I come from the community. I'm the former president of the Chicago Coalition for the Homeless. I hear a shout out for that. I'm on the board of Community Renewal Society. Do you have any shout outs for CRS? And I've been on the board of the local daycare center. Okay. If we do not find the revenue to support human services, our agency alone, the Department of Human Services, will be cut by, are you ready for it? $897 million. That ain't right. $897 million from the governor's introduced budget from what we need. Now, what does this mean? What does this mean for the people that we serve? It means, let's talk about mental health. Who here cares about mental health? All right. With the doomsday budget, 140,000 individuals who receive services will receive reduced services. 140,000 people. Is that right? No! That ain't right. We project that more than 30,000 people will no longer receive any mental health services at all. Is that right? No! That ain't right. That ain't right. That ain't right. That ain't right. How about alcoholism and substance abuse treatment and prevention? Under the doomsday budget, if we have to face these cuts, more than 15,900 people will no longer be served with addiction treatment and prevention services. Is that right? No! Where are these people going to end up? They're going to end up in jails, in state hospitals, in crisis centers, in community hospitals, in homeless shelters, and on the streets. Is that right? No! I have a few more for you. These are just examples of how people will be impacted. Thousands, not hundreds, thousands of children will go without childcare. Thousands of families will no longer have access to the childcare they need to educate their children and allow them to go to work or school. Is that right? Prevention. Homelessness prevention is one of our most effective programs. More than 90% of the people who receive a one-time assistance stay in their homes. More than 13,600 people will no longer have access to homelessness prevention services. Is that right? I'll just give you two more examples of the many examples of ways people will be hurt. More than 18,000 teens will not receive the after-school programming they need to stay out of trouble and to keep out of the streets. These after-school programs help our youth in school, they help them develop life skills, they help them stay out of trouble, and they give them the values we need and they need to have successful lives. 18,000 children. We want them to have after-school programs. And here's my last example. Domestic violence shelters. We cut those, more than almost 14,000 people will not have access to domestic violence shelters. Is that right? No! That ain't right. If anyone tells you we don't believe these cuts will hurt people, don't believe it. Don't believe it. These cuts will hurt people. people. And I need you all to do everything in your power to ask people to vote for the tax extension so that we can support human services, to support the people who need human services. Okay? Now, they've been told, some of our representatives have been told that they have to make the decision, and they're being told, you make the vote, it's your future. But how about you make the vote, it's your conscience? All right, so I need you to do all you can. People will be hurt. I know this, I've seen it with cuts before. We've got to keep these services going. Show some guts, stop the cuts.
You know, Michelle Sadler is not a rally speaker until today. She's a pretty good rally speaker, isn't she? And next up, I don't want the press to be left out. Thank you so much. Next up, a child care provider and worker from Action for Children. Ladies and gentlemen, make her feel welcome, Alicia Lewis.
Hello. Good afternoon. I am the exception. We are the exception. The majority of parents, students, and professionals need child care assistance. My name is Alicia Lewis. I'm from DeKalb, and I work at Children's Learning Center. Three-star Gold Circle program. We provide a nurturing, educational, and safe environment for children between the ages of 6 weeks to 12 years old. We provide high-quality kindergarten readiness program that prepares children from ages 3 to 5 for the beginning of their educational futures. Many of the children we serve are in child care assistance programs, which helps families afford daycare so they can work and or attend school, including myself. If the tax rate of 5% expires on January 1st, 23,000 families and 41,000 children will lose child care, and that includes my family and my children. How will I provide for my children? I like to know when I can work and how would I be able to afford daycare. Child care is expensive without assistance. I don't want to have to turn to any other state assistance program so I can provide for my family. We need to maintain the current 5% tax rate and current revenue. $2.4 billion is a lot of money to lose for child care assistance programs. We are the exception. The professionals, the parents, the students. We need the funds to stay. We need our legislators to support the current tax rate. Thank you.
And next up, the Executive Director from the Illinois Coalition for Community Services and Illinois Partners, Mr. Al Ridley. Al?
It's great to be here with you today. And you know, I have to just say, I'm disgusted about all the politicizing and political games that are being played on the backs of people who need to be helped. I don't care whether you're poor, impoverished, have great needs, but it is important for us to understand the implications of this decision if this income tax is not increased. How dare our legislators play that game with our children, whether it's education, human services, or wherever it is? Can someone help me here? I'm disgusted. Well, thank you. Thank you. Many of us are here today. Some of us serve, and some of us are being served. But you know, the thing about it is this, is that it's important for us to understand that if this 5% does not continue on, you know, it was 3 years ago this was passed. But the 2 years prior to that, there was all kinds of cuts to human service. Just to keep the 5% keeps what we have going now, which isn't the greatest, but it's better than what it would be if it is cut. I hope that you will pressure. I mean, our politicians will be walking in parades on Memorial Day. Find one of them and tell them the personal story that you have in regards to what this will mean in terms of your human service being cut. I'll tell you this. The 5% income tax is a huge step backwards. And really what it's saying is this. It's saying that we don't care. How dare people who we vote for and support, how dare them say to the people who have need, we don't care. I hope you'll stand up and speak for yourself, your group, your church, your organization, your children, or whomever it is, with the message, don't mess with us. We need this to continue on today. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Al. And next up, from DCFS, a caseworker from DCFS and AFSCME president from Local 2615, Ms. Carleen Erno.
Hello, everybody. I just got asked to speak today, so give me a little break here. But I want to tell you, I've worked at DCFS for 30 years. I've been an AFSCME president for 15 years. This is what collective action is. This is how we change things. I'm a mother of 2, a grandmother of 4, and every one of my kids have been on my hip at rallies like this. This is what we need to do. So we partner with community service agencies every single day to provide services to the communities. We provide a medical card or food to a hungry child. We provide a safe foster home for children who have been abused. We provide counseling services to suicidal children. We provide in-home services to the elderly and disabled to make them have a better quality of life. That's what we do every single day. The list goes on and on and on. I'm sure every single one of you can give examples in your community of people that work and provide these services. And without these services, our communities would be in disarray. We pay taxes to have these services. Every single one of us do. And the people that are receiving these services pay taxes too. But somehow these people up here think they have a right to decide where our taxes should go and what they should pay for. And while they have been voted in, while they do have a right to decide that, we need to make it very clear to them what the right priorities should be. And it's not corporate America, it's our communities, it's our children, it's our elderly, it's our veterans. That's what the priorities have to be. And right now, behind every one of these doors and over in the other building, these legislators' offices, deals are being cut. Deals are being cut. Our child's safety, our elderly, our veterans, our mentally ill cannot be part of those deals. I just met with my state rep upstairs and he said everybody wants a piece of the pie. And I said to him, the bottom line is these services should be untouchable. They should be at the top of the pie, and then you figure out where else to cut your deals, but not on the backs of our children, not on the backs of the elderly. You don't touch them. Thank you very much. We are a proud coalition
coalition of human service providers and faith-based organizations and labor and civic leaders and advocacy groups and activists. But we also need champions, legislators on the inside that will help us fight our cause. And out of 59 state senators in the state of Illinois, you will find none finer than Senator Jackie Collins, the chair of the Financial Institutions Committee. Welcome her warmly.
Hello. You look great out there. Welcome to Springfield. We need you to raise your voices, because for those opponents who say and talk about broken promises, you hear a lot about broken promises. You've seen the editorials that accuse us, if we want to extend the current tax rate, they accuse us of breaking a promise, right? They say if we extend the current tax rate, we have broken our promise to make it temporary, right? Well, let me just say this. Let me just say, what about the broken promises to our children? Yes. Who still refuse to get, or the state refuses to give them the tax funding that they need? What about the broken promises to our low-wage workers? Yes. Those child care and home care workers. What about the broken promises to our distressed communities, especially those communities of color? So let me just say, for those politicians who are clamoring to cut the current tax rates, even if they succeed in cutting the tax rate and cause them to expire, let me just say their responsibility to the citizens of Illinois will not expire. That's right. Their moral obligation to the most vulnerable in the city and in the state will not expire. That's right. Their obligation to the next generation to open the doors of opportunity will not expire. That's right. So let's send them a message. The state owes our citizens to keep the promise of providing the services that ensure a quality of life for all the citizens of Illinois. Keep up the fight. Keep raising your voices. There is strength in numbers. Thank you.
And next up, the administrator for the Capitol Care Center in Springfield, Mr. Scott Mao.
Thank you. Seniors deserve our very best. I was raised to respect my elders. These are our parents, our grandparents, our kindergarten teachers, our policemen, our firemen. They took care of us. It's our turn to take care of them. That's right. Show respect. Don't cut their funding. I have over 160 people we provide care for who depend, who need these resources for their daily care, for their medicine, for their food. Please don't cut their funding. That's right. I have over 250 employees with families in Springfield who provide that care to those parents, those grandparents, those teachers. Please don't cut their funding. Thank you.
From the Director of Government Relations for the AIDS Foundation of Chicago, Mr. Chaz Ordonez.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you. I'm Chaz Ordonez. I'm the Director of Government Relations for the AIDS Foundation of Chicago. I'm here to give you the facts. If enacted, Illinois will have reduced HIV funding by $9 million, which is 30% since 2011. We know what HIV is. It's a communicable disease. We can virtually eliminate the transmission of HIV with linkage to HIV medications and medical care. People living with HIV that are receiving care have been proven to be 96% lower in transmitting the disease. Unfortunately, half of the people living in the state of Illinois are not on any medical care at all. This is an attack. This is an attack on a community in need. This is an attack on a community in need. What will get cut? It'll be prevention, it'll be treatment, and it'll be care. These are the things that are vital to a community. The biggest thing that's going to get cut would be the AIDS Drug Assistance Program. If you're low income and you can't afford your HIV medication, who's going to pay for it? Currently, this program pays for it so that you're able to survive, so that you're able to live a better life. They're cutting this program. This is an attack on this program. Illinois, we must continue to invest in HIV treatment programs like ADAP. Every new HIV case that's prevented in the state saves the state $380,000 per person in the lifetime medical costs. This is saving us money. Let me also say that did we forget that because 1 in 2 people are not receiving HIV care in Illinois, that this is mostly communities of color. Communities of color are the highest prevalence with HIV and AIDS. Again, let me reiterate that this is an attack on a helpless community. We need to be able to stand up. We're not helpless. We know what to do. We need to be able to contact our legislators and make them vote. Vote yes for maintaining the tax increase. Many folks are against this bill. You know, they say that the current tax rate, the way things are going, are too much waste in spending. I'll agree that policies and procedures can always be improved, but what cannot be improved are people's lives that are not on needed medication. That is something that cannot be approved. We shouldn't be punishing people that are the most in need. We should be helping them as brothers and sisters, grabbing them and raising them together. This shouldn't be political. This shouldn't be about poor versus rich. This should be about morals. What is right and what is wrong. So after this, don't just cheer, don't just holler. Call your senator, call your representative, and make them maintain the current state increase. Thank you so much.
You're watching the Illinois Channel, an independent nonprofit corporation formed to provide gavel-to-gavel coverage of Illinois state government and other public affairs events taking place across Illinois.